Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Julie Samako, owner of Southern Charm Wreaths, where we teach you the art of silk floristry. Today we're going to be making a fall magnolia grapevine wreath. All right, so what we have, I've already created a bow, okay? This is so pretty, and bows are simple. All right, bows are simple when you learn the basics, and you don't have to learn with the more pricier ribbon. You definitely can learn with like less expensive. However, what I teach in our workshops, and what I teach in our masterclass, what I teach in our Everbloom Designers Club is that the quality does help you to be a little more successful, especially if you're starting out or you're looking for something that's going to have wire that will support the bow loop. Okay, so I already made this. I think the two loops here were 8 inches, and then I think I did 7 inches on the 2.5 inch, and then the 1 inch I came in another, I don't know, couple of inches, and then I put a loop in the center. Okay, so I went ahead, made my bow. Y'all have seen me make bows plenty of times. I added it to the wreath. Notice how big the bow is to the wreath. So that was my intention. I wanted to see if I can make something that's got a lot of bow action and maybe a little bit of greenery, okay? So we have this on a 14-inch grapevine wreath. So our bow is measuring about 13 inches in diameter, okay? So the wreath is 14. The bow is measuring almost 13. So it's taking up a significant amount of room. All right, so what I wanted to show you was what I have on my table. These beautiful magnolia leaves. I got magnolia flowers. I got these from Greenery Market. Look how beautiful those are. Now take a look at the color on the center. Okay, so a lot of times people ask me, how do I find my coloring? Look at my flower. Just look at your flower. It gives you your entire color palette right there. All right, I think a lot of times people forget that you can just take a look at the flower. I always take off these little nubs. Makes it look very realistic to have it, but it's a nightmare when it comes to the glue, okay? All right, so we've got our florals. I don't know if I'm gonna do 2 or 3. Here are the magnolia leaves. Now, look at the greenery, okay? So we're looking for something that's going to be comparable to the green that's already in our flower. So I chose the magnolia leaf. I also have a little pine here because it's a fall design. I also pulled over a little maidenhair fern to give it some texture. And then I have another magnolia leaf if I need it. Okay, so these sprays, things like this is another quick win. They are evenly spaced, all right? So I talk about spacing all the time in our Everbloom Design School. So spacing means that you want your element, so this is a magnolia leaf, or a flower, you want it to have the attention that it deserves, right? We don't want to shove it and compact it to where we can't make out what is heads or tails, right? So I like sprays like this because they're already pretty much a good base that I can just incorporate into my wreath. All right, so here we have my grapevine, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little glue. This is my hot glue. So you're going to put some glue right here on the edge of your stem. You're looking for honey consistency if you're using a glue pan, or you can use a glue gun, you know, whatever's easier for you. All right, and now you're going to take it. Hold on, it's starting to drip. And I'm going to put this right above my bow, okay? Now here is another thing on spacing, is you want to make sure that you don't go too far under the bow. So do you see how we've added our floral? Remember, if you're adding, doing this recipe, this is a recipe. If you're doing this wreath recipe, which is a crescent wreath, you're going to have a central binding point, which is your bow. And anything above the binding point, you're going to insert towards the ground, okay? So meaning everything's gonna look like it's coming up from the bow. Then below, anything that you insert into the grapevine wreath, you want to insert it from towards the ceiling, okay? So that's kind of a little like tip. Now I'm going to put this in under the bow. Again, we're going to put it in the glue. Get our glue action going on. And then I'm going to lift up the skirt of the bow and find a place to insert. All right. Then we're just going to move it around, making sure that we're not going to crowd the leaves too much. I want to make sure this is somewhat even from the top to the bottom. Okay, and it looks good for me. All righty, that looks cute. We've got our greenery with our magnolia. What we've done is established our form. Form is another word for shape. All right, and I'm going to use these long needles. This is a long needle pine. All right, so we're going to take this greenery, we're going to work it in around our bow. The smaller pieces we're leaving closer to the bow area. Anytime I do something on the right, I'm going to do something on the left. That's going to be for our balance. I've got another piece. We're going to start creating our shape, our spacing with the triangle. There we go. See how that pretty that is? Cute. I feel like we could do another leaf here. We did pull these off of our magnolias, so maybe I could put those in later. This is maidenhair fern. I like it because it's airy. I also got this one from Greenery Market. So it gives a little texture, right? It helps to fill in some holes, but it's not going to overpower. So maidenhair fern is really good for that. Always take the time to give a little shape and a little bend just to make sure it looks realistic. And this one has a very thin stem, so we're going to pull over a pick machine. Now you can use also a wooden floral pick, fatten it up a little bit, which is what we need to do right here on this stem. Okay, sometimes we put a little hot glue on something. Have you ever seen that shrivel up? And you're like, well, there went that stem. It's so thin I have to bend it in half before I can even put my stem on. Again, give it a little shaping. See how it's like barely adding anything. I like the airiness of this. All right, see how I'm just figuring it out, figuring out the shape. Go with the grain of the grapevine. It's going to be the easiest way to insert your stems. Don't forget to step back. When you step back, you start to see holes and stuff, right? Let's go here. Okay, so we've got a little green action over there. I feel like we could still do something right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull off one more leaf. We could put that right there. See how much better that looks? Okay. Do y'all see this? See what we've created together? Do you see the number one, a shape forming? Okay, we've got a shape forming. The other thing we have is texture, because we've added a fat leaf, a long needle leaf, and an airy maidenhair fern leaf. You could be done right now. You could add in your little pine cones and call it a day and still have a really pretty design. Why? Because you put a top quality bow, an over the top wow focal, which is the bow. But we're going to try to bring it up even more by adding in magnolias. All right, let's see. I'm going to cut this and for right now, I just want to eyeball it. All right, so I'm just going to temporarily place. I'm trying to decide, do I want, I think I just want two. I could put a third up there, right? So you just decide how many you want to add. I think I'm just going to do the two. Let's go ahead and add this one right there. I'm going to be careful not to crowd that bow. and make sure my flower doesn't get swallowed up by the bow. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's do this one. I'm gonna put a pick on this because I cut it a little short, so we need some length. I'm just gonna come right here, find that grapevine. That's cute. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, that's cute. We're going to add in our yellow flowers, I think. Actually, let's fill in with our brown leaves first. These add a lot of brown to the wreath, which is going to help tie in that grapevine a little bit more. All right, so now from here, we're just going to start filling in wherever we see a little hole. Okay, remember what I said earlier, how your florals that you add are creating this invisible line, okay, in your mind's eye, and you're trying to keep everything within that line, okay? And so as your greenery or your florals touch each other, that's what creates that line. So when something starts to dip down, so how you have the line stops here and then it goes down here and then it juts back out, that's where you know you have a hole and where you can use another floral to kind of fill that in and help connect those two together. All right, let's see here. I think I'm going to go over this way. Let's do some on the bottom now. Another texture added. Isn't that fun? All right, now let's pull over our Quick Wins, which are the sprays that have all the goodies. You could cut out anything that you don't like, but I think I'm just going to keep all of this in here. I might cut out some of that foamy type leaf. But it's got berries, it's got flowers, and we're going to shape it, right? So spread it all out. All right, now let's start. I'm going to start around my bow again. I'm going to come over in this direction. Push it down into the grapevine towards the ground, and then I'm going to bend it outward. It's okay if you mess anything up. It's okay if you get glue anywhere. All right, so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to spread it out. All right, so we've got that there. All right, now let's do another one. Let's do another one down on the bottom. Okay, all right, so now we're going to take from here, we're going to go up about right there. Oh, I probably could do one right here too. Right about here. There looks like a little hole. All right, you see how we're working around our bow? And now we're going to come up this way. I feel like they just give a lot, and they're quick, right? Quick to add. Okay, I want to do it in front of the leaf because the leaf started to cover it up. So let's move that leaf that way. All right, so we've got that one up there. Let's do, definitely we want one on the end. Spread it out, and then we'll do another one. We'll do our last one. So why don't we go ahead and divide this one? This is our last one. I'm just going to take it and pull it in two. And then we'll trim, and then you can add a wooden floral pick or steel pick. So now we're just going to spread it out a little bit more. All right, let's do one more. Now I also have this, which I really liked because it did bring out that color in our magnolia flower. I'm just going to put it right here for now. Oh, wow. I don't hate it. It kind of goes really good with that leaf, the fall leaf. But there's a lot going on here, so let's divide it and make sure we spread it out. There's one. Let's see if I can get one down here. I feel like we could do one up here. So when you are designing, think of layers. At any point, you can stop and have something, you know, pretty, maybe in a different price point. Okay, I'm going to go over here with this one. All right, we're going to come right here. All right, so remember those little pieces that we had and those little pine cones? That's what we could put right here in the middle of the bow. We also have a couple pieces of these, all right? These are very lightweight. Here's this one. So this is, if you like this style, I mean, it does bring your bow more into the wreath, so it's less of a focal, right? It takes part, like it's part of the wreath a little bit more. But notice that I'm not separating the bow loops. I'm not like pushing them out and then putting something fat in the middle of it. I'm using all of the elements that we've already incorporated, and I'm just tucking them in to the loops. So that helps to just pull it all together. If you felt like you needed another bow loop, you could always add it later, but I think it needs another ribbon streamer. Either right there, something right there, something right here. And I have this. Don't know if I could just pull it to the front. And now let's go ahead and add maybe one more streamer down here. Let's get this centered right there. Okay. Now, when you're adding your streamers, make sure you are lining it up to the center of your bow, so it looks like it's attached to the bow. I'm going to cut this one right about here. I'm going to decide if I want to do something there. The only thing about this ribbon, it's so thick and it doesn't have a lot of stand action. The wire's very floppy. You see what I mean? So that means I'm gonna have to like use the product that we have in the wreath. Just gonna place it in there. Yeah, that's cute. All right, let's get this glued. Okay, I'm going to use my U-glue dashes, and I'm going to attach this ribbon right here on that side of the wreath because I want it to stay in place, right? We were talking about how it doesn't It doesn't have a lot of strong wire. Let's just keep that right there. Okay. And then I have my pine cones. We're just going to hot glue those in. Hot glue those into the bow loops. So again, this is something you wouldn't have to do, but it's a little hidden. They don't get seen very much, you know, from your perspective, but if you're looking at this up close, you definitely can see them tucked into that bow loop. All right, I think we are done. It turned out to be pretty massive for a 14-inch wreath base. You could, you know, it's all about the layering. Obviously, if you don't like it as done as I have it, just, you know, eliminate some of them, right? Eliminate some of the stuff. But I like it full, right? And the bow makes it, in my opinion. Thank you so much for joining me on this tutorial. Again, if you're not following along and you like all things silk flowers and bows and ribbons, make sure to give us a follow. We're going to be doing some more Christmas stuff as the season progresses. I hope you have a wonderful fall if I don't see you again. And remember, we have our Simple Christmas Design Workshop starting next week. Just go to simplechristmasdesigns.com, simplechristmasdesigns.com. We're going to be making wreaths. We're going to be making swags. We're going to be making arrangements. We're going to be making bows. We're going to be using scraps to make things that you can sell through the holidays or give as gifts. So I'd be honored to have you join us. It's going to be 3 days. It starts next week. Everything is recorded so you can watch it on replay whenever you need to. Yours to keep for as long as you need it. All right, simplechristmasdesigns.com. Again, I'm Julie with Southern Charm Wreaths, and thanks for spending the afternoon with me. I will see y'all next time. Bye.